Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the college football betting model preview event. I'm going to take a few minutes to just go over the what you're going to expect from the betting model, and then I'm going to go into a little bit the specifics of how I got the numbers that you're going to see in green, like why a number under 50% is a play, and then I'll come back and I'll tie it all together, and we'll go from there. So first off, what you can see here is we have the teams. So for this weekend slate, we only have two games. We have Colorado State versus Hawaii, and we have New Mexico State versus Wyoming. And then over here, we have the Vegas spread, we have the money line, and we have the total. For most slates, what you're going to see is about 50 of these games. Don't worry, we're going to make it easy for you to read, make it easy for you to get the plays. Moving over here to the cover percentage, right now, just a number. As I always say, green is good. We have the over percentage, and we have the under percentage. Again, if this is green, why wouldn't 51% be green? We'll get into it. And so we're going to go over here to my Excel sheet. So this is the test data that I ran with. So I tested my formulas that I created from previous years before this on data from 2016 and 2017. So we have about 1,400 games to work with, about 2,800 teams total. And so as you can see, each team and opponent has their own line. So California played Hawaii, Hawaii played California. Between B and H, I have the factors that I use to generate the formula to predict whether or not each team is going to cover or not. And that generates into this formula. As you can see, it formulates based off values that would be between B and H. And so each team has a percent chance that they will cover. It will not add up to 1. So, for instance, California is 0.50, Hawaii is 0.48, adds up to 0.98. Basically, that game we have no interest in betting at all. Our model sees nothing there to want to bet. And then, so kind of on more statistical level, what multiple regression or what this previous showed that's good is that multiple regression looks for a linear trend. So as my phone kind of illustrates, it kind of wants that kind of curve. So it just wants to see a straight line where your lowest ranked teams never win and your highest ranked teams always win. That's the ideal scenario. It's perfect 1R squared. However, what a lot of times you'll see in data is you'll see, let's say, the first percentile through the 90th percentile or the 80th percentile, you'll see kind of a flat line where you will have no relationship. And then from the 80th percentile to the 100th percentile, you'll have a massive jump. And so that'll show a weak linear fit, but there's so much to learn from that. And so that's kind of how I've taken it from, and my boss in finance taught me this. That's kind of how we've done it always in finance, and how it's good to do it in fantasy as well. And so how you do that is you run a simple percent rank formula on our values from our formula from our games. And so it takes us from 0 to 1 and then percent rank. So for instance, 0.50 is in the 63rd percentile. So, and then we separate them into buckets. So for instance, for my first test, I separated them into quintiles. So if you imagine 5 buckets and you just throw teams into buckets, and the first bucket is basically those teams we expect to lose. And the 5th bucket is the teams we expect to win. And every bucket in between from 1 to 5, as you can make sense. So we come over here to this quintile rank. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what it runs off of is it says, okay, so here's the quintile that we want. Here's what did the team actually cover their spread or not. And so we kind of have an idea of if we take, an average if of whether or not it fits the quintile and that, what we can see is that, 1 through 4 are pretty much around the standard, 0.48. You don't see much movement. And then we get up to this fifth quintile between 80 and 100%, and we have 0.535. So 53.5% of games in that quintile, about 270 per season, 20 per week. Obviously, we're not going to play that many. However, it's good to show a screen that says, okay, it's pretty much flat, and then it instantly went up. Wow, I'm really bad at, getting those right. And so from there, what we did is we said, okay, obviously, if it's in the top quintile, we must be able to shrink that down a little bit. And so what I did is we had a confidence interval. So after week 1, because there are some variables that deal with momentum from week to week, so they don't work for week 1 as well. So for the spread, we're going to look for teams the model believes have a 53.6% or greater chance to cover the spread. And so you'll see I have formulas in place that show this, and what you'll see is that it predicts there are 160 games or 160 teams that over the 2 seasons, so 80 per season or 7 or 8 per week, that fit this model. And then we take, did we win those? So we just take, did the team cover? So you'll see if these match, then it'll show a 1. Obviously, if we didn't play, it's going to be blank like this. And then we come down here, and in those games, in the 160 games, we won 86, or about 54%. Obviously, that's not around our season average. We're trying to get 60%, and that's where the fundamental analysis will come through. We're not going to play all 86. We're going to take those 86, and we're going to run with them and figure out which ones are the best plays. And that's kind of where Anthony, Brandon, myself, how we really provide value to you guys. It's not just the model plays, it's really the analysis on top of that. And so we're kind of expecting to win 54% based on that. Like I said, there are some situations where momentum comes into play. And so for week 1, we're using this confidence interval of 0.49, which, as you'll see, 0.49, where in week 1, we're going to play ones that are above 49%. And so this is saying, was it week 1, as you can see over here, and whether or not it's a play, and then did we win those? And so for week 1, that are better than 49%, we're going to see about 16 of those per year, and we hit 56% of those. So again, going back to our model, we should expect Wyoming to have a 56% chance to cover or better. I've gone through their analysis. I have a piece up written on the site. I think it's an excellent play. So going back to the model, so that's your cover percentage. Now let's go over the total. So in the total, again, between AEH and AL, we have different factors in play. And then we have an over percentage based on the factors, and then an under percentage, which is just 1 minus the over percentage. And then one fact that's cool is that the over was there was only 46% of games that went over in college football, so there's already an edge to the under. A lot of people just play the over, thinking it's got to go. Again, we take the percent rank of the over, take the percent rank of the under, and then if it's above 52.5% on the over, we're going to play the over. And if it's over 55% on the under, so again, these boxes, so if it's over 52.5%, and if it's over 55%, So over 52.5 for the over, it would show up a 1 there. Over 55%, it would show up as a 0 here because in the system, 1 over under 0. So that's kind of how that shows up. And then the actual, whether the game went over or under, as you can see, they're in pairs of 2 because each of the teams are playing each other. So they're not going to have different over and unders. And then how many of the overcorrects did we have? And we have 51% overs correct. And then unders correct, we were 71%. And so, again, let's go back. We're predicting the under. Again, I think this is an excellent play. My funnel analysis backs it up. Both of these plays I think are really strong for week 1. I'm glad we get 2 very strong plays for week 1 to kind of hit us up on the right foot. Back to the model. We're going to play more unders than we are overs based off this data, based on kind of what we've seen throughout history. Totals tend to go under, and our model seems to be able to figure out which ones those are going to be. So that's the model. So that's kind of how overs, that's how unders work, that's how spreads work in the model. And so we kind of go back and we kind of refresh this. So again, teams will be on the left side, the Vegas spread, the money line, the total. And then we have the cover percentage, which during week 1, you want 49% or better. After week 1, we want 53.6% or better. Over percentage, we want to see 52.5% or better. And under percentage, we want to see 55% or better. Those will be considered plays. They won't be official plays until I run my fundamental analysis. So that's what I have. If you have any questions or you want me to clarify anything, please let me know. I'm here to help. If not, I really hope this weekend's games go well, and hope we all enjoy beating the bookie together. Take care.